Thanks for watching FILMBuFF, really, honestly, it's fucking great.
Oh, hello, how's it going, guys? My name is FILMBuFF. Alright, man, episode 4 into this 5-episode marathon to catch up on Attack on Titan, season 2. And yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm so excited right now. Almost there. You know, it's been a long time. It's taken just too long to catch up. But I'm almost there. I'm excited. Season 3 is really soon. Again, I don't know if I'm going to be able to catch up in time to release season 2 alongside, you know, everyone else, but at least I'm going to be caught up. You know, at least I'm going to be caught up before episode 1 airs. So that's good. Because it would suck to be spoiled, you know, this close to the finale. But, you know, but I am making an effort to caught up before episode 1 airs. Season 3, episode 1, that is. Before I go any further, huge thank you to all the amazing patrons. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. You know, the Patreon's grown quite a bit. And I'm super happy I can offer, you know, early access and full-length reactions. And a reminder to anyone else, if you would like early access or full-length reactions, head on over to my Patreon, check it out. And that applies to my next anime. The next anime from my list, again, check out the list. I'm gonna do early access, I'm gonna do full length, and of course full length reactions for season 3. But yeah, man, that last episode 10, absolutely incredible. It gave me so much information. It gave me so much it gave me enough info to really connect the dots for some really big questions. You know, and some of these mysteries are not really mysteries anymore after the stuff I was given. You know, I made some big claims in that discussion, so but you know, it's logical. A lot of it feels like it's logical based on the info I was given. So amazing episode. Let's see how this one plays out. Let's get right into it. It's gonna get these other titans to chase him. I hope not. I hope not. I need answers. Come on.
こいつらの仲間から巨人の力を盗んだ。こいつらの力は絶対だ。このままじゃ私は殺される。でも、お前を奴らに差し出すことに協力すれば、私の罪を不問にしてくれるよ。言ったでしょ、ユミル。
I'm always your ally.
何があっても、私はあなたの味方だって。
Even after you know, all the things she just said. Holy shit, man. Look at those eyes. Oh my god. Yeah. Holy shit. Oh, Jean.
俺もそいつ嫌いだからな。一緒に締めてやろうぜ。まあ出てこいよ。
ベルトルト返して。
なあ、嘘だろ。ベルトルトないな。今までずっと俺たちのこと騙してた。
No, 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 Connie, don't give up just yet, man.
3年間一つ屋根の下で苦楽を共にした仲じゃねえか。ベルトルト、お前の寝相の悪さは芸術的だったな。いつからかみんなお前が毎朝生み出す作品を楽しみにしてその日の天気を占ったりした。けどよ、お前あんなことした加害者が被害者たちの前でよくぐっすり眠れたもんだな。
全部嘘だったのかよ。どうすりゃみんなで生き残れるか話し合ったのも、おっさんになるまで生きていつかみんなで酒飲もうって話したのも全部嘘だったのか。なあ、お前らは今まで何考えてたんだ。
そんなもの分からなくていい。こいつの首を跳ねることだけに集中して。
Chill, man. Make us
一瞬
chill,
でも
chill.
躊躇すればもうエレンは取り返せない。
誰が人なんか殺したいと思うんだ。
Go on, Bertold.
誰が好きでこんなことをしたいと思うんだよ。人から恨まれて殺されても当然のことをした。取り返しのつかないことを。でも僕らは罪を受け入れきれなかった。兵士を演じてる間だけは少しだけ楽だった。嘘じゃないんだトギーちゃん。確かにみんな騙したけど全てが嘘じゃない。本当に仲間だと思ってたよ。
I believe him. Definitely believe him.
僕らに謝る資格なんてあるわけない。けど誰かお願いだ。誰か僕らを見つけてくれ。
ベルトルト、エレンを返して。
ダメだ、できない。
Come on, Reiner. Come on. Oh shit.
人類存亡の命運は今この瞬間に決定する。エレンなくして人類がこの地上に生息できる将来など永遠に訪れない。エレンを奪い返し即帰還するぞ。心臓を捧げよう。
Sasageo.
奴ら完全にどうかするぜ。おい。
Bro, you talk too much.
この巨人の中をかいくぐって進め。
Oh.
すぐそこだ。進め。
Holy shit. Oh my god, they're losing so many of them. Nicely done, John.
アルミン。
何も捨てることができない人には何も変えることはできないだろう。
進め。
Yeah.
何を
Smith,
何を
man.
捨てればいい。いいの？二人とも仲間を置き去りにしたまま故郷に帰って。 兄なら今極北のユトピア区の地下深くで拷問を受けてるよ。
Oh,
彼女の
Harmon.
悲鳴を聞けばすぐに体の傷は治せても痛みを消すことができないことは分かった。死なないように細心の注意が払われる中、今この瞬間にも兄の体には休む暇もなくさまざまな工夫を施された拷問が。
悪魔の末裔が根絶やしにしてやる。
Jesus, this dude is. You mean you tossed him? Who is it?
巨人を投げてよこしやがった。
No, it's not Viner. Is it? Oh, it is.
ミカさん。
It's from. Oh my god, it's from episode 1. Look at that, man. So, blast from the past, by some insane coincidence, by some chance encounter, Eren and Mikasa now face the same smiling titan from episode 1. The one that ate Eren's mother. The one that started this whole thing, basically, right? Well, that didn't start it, but that was the first major death. But it's crazy that it shows up at this point in time. So it looks like it exited Maria, and it looks like it's just been roaming this whole time out there for like 5 years. But there's no one to kill them, right? Because everything else that happened it's inside, right? It's inside. No one actually left Maria after that because it was taken. They abandoned it, so they got pushed further in, closer to the middle. So yeah, these titans are just roaming freely out there. So yeah, man, chance encounter, or is it? I'm always paranoid now. Like, is this just a random chance encounter? So there's a few possibilities here now. It's clear that this titan is being used as a plot device. Initially I said that Eren and Mikasa now come face to face with this, smiling titan, the one they've seen before. Mikasa got injured. She got injured, and that kind of takes her out of the equation. And if she's not injured, if she is at full capacity, she's gonna take that titan out. But they're clever about it. They took her out of the equation, so she's sidelined. That leaves Hannes and Eren. First thing that could happen is that Eren finally gets that closure, man. He finally gets to, gets that rage out. All those years ago, seeing his mother die. This titan is basically responsible for starting this, immense hate he has for them. All these years he's been going on about exterminating them. He's got just this rage in there, right? And now he comes face to face with this goddamn titan again. So the one thing that could happen here is he gets closure. He absolutely demolishes this titan, so he could get all that rage out. He could get retribution for his mom, and finally, kind of close that chapter. Another possibility is Hannes. Hannes is here, man. Oh my god, this is that chance at redemption for Hannes. Now I still think Hannes ends up dying. I'd be shocked if he doesn't die at this point. I'd be super happy if he doesn't. But something has to happen here, And again, they set up Hannes' major death flag a few episodes ago. But maybe they could double team this titan. Eren and Hannes just, oh man, that would be quite fantastic if they could double team it. But maybe something like Hannes dies of his injuries, that kind of thing. I could see that happening. But I hope he plays a hand in, you know, taking this Titan out. Because that's all I ask for, man. Please just let this guy have a little bit of redemption. You know, he's been carrying this guilt for such a long time. There is no chance in hell that Hannes doesn't try to fight this Titan, or at least try to attack it or help Eren take it down. You know, he's not gonna back. He's not gonna back down twice. No chance. You know, the first time 5 years ago, he knew that he probably can't take this Titan down, and he decided to save the two kids. 5 years later, you know, maybe things are a little bit different. He's definitely made it clear that he's gonna do anything possible to get Eren back. You know, and the fact that both Mikasa and Eren are here, and Hannes is here as well, and he has a chance to, you know, almost kind of get forgiveness, you know, and redemption for something that happened 5 years ago. It's a great chance at redemption, but it's also risky. I'm hoping for like a double team thing, you know, Eren and Hannes together, you know, having a go at this Titan. I still believe Hannes is gonna die, but even if he does end up dying from his injuries, at least he's gonna have, you know, that peace of mind. He's gonna have that closure, right? And right from the beginning, man, Commander Smith, he set the tone for the rest of this episode. Basically, he sees the Armor Titan retreating, and he makes the executive decision to ask all of his scouts to let the Titans chase them. And in extension of that, it's, you know, all the Titans are going after the Armor Titan, basically, right? Because the scouts are going in that direction. That's a high risk decision, man. And only someone like this Commander Smith, or someone in that position can make that kind of call. He's in that position because he knows he has to make the, you know, the big moves, the risky moves, the high risk moves, right? And this episode, man, this guy is in this position for a goddamn good reason, man. He, you know, the military police guy called him a demon. He's like, you know, the military police guy referred to him as a demon. And demon is a fitting term to describe Commander Smith. You know, this guy is definitive and cool under immense pressure. Immense pressure, man. And he's able to make these kind of calls. And the set of balls on this guy, like, how does he even sit on a horse, man? Like, you know, so episodes 8, 9, and 10, a lot of exposition, right? A lot of information, a lot of exciting information, and stuff, you know, a lot of answers. Actually, I got a lot of answers. Or at least I got information that helped me answer some of my questions, man. Some crucial questions. Like, especially episode 10. Episode 10 is, holy shit, that is, that's a major episode. I think that's a major episode in terms of the audience having information, or at least having enough information so you can connect the dots for a lot of things. I was given enough information to put together how Titan shifters get their ability, and then also there's enough information, there's enough hints in there, or implications in there, you know, to tell me that Eren might have eaten his own dad at some point. So episode 10 is a major episode in this season, and, you know, it's one of the 3 episodes that had a lot of exposition and info dumps, you know, 8, 9, and 10. Then there's this episode. This episode is the exact opposite. This is a roller coaster from beginning to end. It's kind of like they've given you all that information for 3 episodes. You know, now it's time to take care of some business. The actual discussion right now, it's not really going to have too many new talking points, but there is some crucial stuff that came out of this. But, you know, later on, staying on Commander Smith, later on, I see one of the most insane moments of the whole show. As he's leading the charge, he's got his sword, right? He's got his sword and his arm out. He gets grabbed by a Titan. And as he's being dragged out of here, he doesn't flinch for a second, man. Laser focused, tells him to charge. Points the sword, tells him to keep going. This guy is fearless. This guy is a proper commander. You know, he's in this position for a reason, man. He's being followed by people like Levi for a reason, man. This is not just your average human. This is not just your average soldier, man. This is he's cut from a different cloth. That being said, you know, I thought it was a little bit out of character for him to be caught off guard like that. That must have been a really sneaky Titan to, you know, sneak up on him like that. You know, it almost kind of jumped out of thin air. But, you know, an amazing moment nonetheless. And you see in Armin's reaction, you see how, you know, it kind of hyped him up. You know, it pumped him up to see the commander, even in that situation, you know, telling them to keep charging. And, you know, Armin, speaking of demons, Armin had his own moment, man. Yeah, holy shit, man. Armin, like I said, Armin reminds me of a young Commander Smith, or at least it makes me think this is how Commander Smith used to be as a kid, or not a kid, that age, Armin's age. I've said this before, but I could easily see Armin, someday being in that position, being a commander. More on Armin in a bit, but let's jump back to Commander Smith. This guy somehow, now see this part I'm a little bit confused about. I'm not really sure how it all played out, but somehow he got in front of the Armor Titan, and he made that big move, right? He jumped up, launched himself, and he cut Bertolt. He cut Eren loose. So again, that's crucial, right? In terms of getting Eren back. That moment, there's a shot of him, his hair's just like flying, and like his arm's missing, and he's just kind of like falling back down to his horse. This guy's a bad motherfucker, man. And the fact that Levi is, basically out of action at the moment, he's out of the picture, I think that also made Commander Smith step up even more in terms of being in the front lines and, getting down and dirty. Let me transition to Armin now. And, like I said, speaking of demons, Bertolt, I believe Bertolt called him the spawn of the devil, man. And isn't it just crazy that someone like Armin is being called the spawn of the devil, right? I really do believe Armin has a lot of the qualities required to be in a high position someday. Again, I don't really know how long the show's gonna go, right? So I'm not sure if at some point there might be a time jump, or if it's gonna have enough content that they can age and get into some of these positions, or maybe none of that even matters down the line, positions and all that stuff, depending on how the story plays out. But in terms of Armin, people like Pixis, people like Commander Smith have had a major impact on him, a really big impact on him, and he's been taking it all in like a sponge, man. Everything they have to say about things that humanity kind of has to do to be successful in their attempts to, fight the Titans, or find out the secrets of the Titans. And the one thing that really resonated is those who cannot abandon anything cannot change anything. This is something Armin has kind of taken in. He really took that in, and he did his part of spreading that mentality. It reminds me of those scenes of him and Jean back in season 1. And this episode he had to put that mentality to test. It was his turn. And he questioned himself, and he had to figure out what exactly he's gonna abandon. He had to abandon his humanity to make a change, just like Pixis had to do it all that time ago in season 1. Not caring about the losses of today, and then he saw Commander Smith really stand behind that mentality. Now it was his turn, and holy shit, man! In that moment he decided to abandon his humanity, his compassion, maybe his friendship, all of that. And he made Bertolt completely lose his composure, man. I've never seen Bertolt like this. And speaking of Bertolt, this is actually a major episode for Bertolt, man. I'll get into that scene a little bit later on, but he made him lose his composure, and that's the first time that's happened. I've never seen Bertolt like this. He really triggered him, man. He basically exploited that attachment Bertolt has to Annie. And he's been established as someone who's always kind of on the lookout. He's always kind of taking everything in from his surroundings. He's always observing his surroundings. It reminds me of that scene of him, Annie, and Connie in their lineup, as all their gear is getting checked up, and he spots that this is Marco's ODM gear. So he's been established as someone who doesn't miss much. So I saw a new side of Armin. I saw that he's capable of this if needed. I saw a deceitful, ruthless, and bit of an unsettling side to Armin, because he looked psychotic in that one moment. Like his expression changed because he realized, oh, I know, I can exploit this. And holy shit, that expression change is a bit unsettling, to see Armin like that. But speaking of character growth, Armin is right up there. This is a different person, man, compared to the one I saw in episode 1 and early on in season 1. He wasn't left behind. He changed. He's evolved, man. And seeing that he is capable of this is, again, another reason I think he'd be a great commander at some point. Again, I don't know if the show's gonna go that long though, right? And I'm sure it's not gonna be like One Piece. It's not gonna go that long. I'm sure there's an end game in mind, but it feels like there's still another major component to this show to this story, once they get out there. So there's still probably a lot of this show to go. I most definitely hope I get to see the outside and, see them go outside and see how it all plays out. But yeah, man, this distraction, this manipulation, bought them enough time. And, it allowed Commander Smith to, jump in and slash Bertold. So yeah, man, Armin, he's capable of being ice cold. And I like that he can tap into that. So let's jump to Bertold, because he had, a major episode. I've seen so much out of Bertold in this episode. A range of emotions. Him absolutely raging after Armin kind of, tried to bait him about Annie. And in this scene, I saw a really emotional side of Bertold. So it's so refreshing, man. So refreshing to see Bertold finally, kind of open up. Because up until this point, he's been like the silent type, always in the background, keeping to himself, staying out of the limelight. So, it's great to finally see him kind of open up now. And the scene I'm speaking of is, the reunion on top of the Armored Titan, the 104th all together again, or at least most of them all together again. This is definitely my favorite part of the episode. There's something so endearing about these characters, these, different people in the 104th. I've said it a few times before, I just absolutely love it. I love it anytime they all get together or they're facing situations together because, again, they're such an endearing group. And honestly, this ensemble of characters has become one of my favorites. And there's such a strong bond, right? And that's probably one of the main reasons Reiner and Bertold probably dreaded this moment, having to face their friends after that big moment for episode 6. And this is they finally had to face their friends. Well, it was more so Bertold because, Reiner is in the Armored Titan at that moment, but he is listening. I really like Jean's approach to this. He still treated him like a friend, like he spoke to him like a friend, and, spoke of fond memories they had together. And I do feel like this is important. I feel like it is important that Jean took this approach, because it does let Reiner and Bertold know that they even after all of this, they do have a group of people, or they still have a few friends that are down to listen. They're going to listen, hear them out. But now, of course, I could be reading that wrong, and it could totally be a strategy, so they kind of, put their guard down, literally and figuratively, right? But it was clear that both Jean and Connie, you can see that they're upset, man. They're upset over this. It's not like they decided that they hate them now. Going back to Jean and his approach to this, he brought up, bonding moments. Jean brought up the fact that all of them used to be excited for mornings because, they were looking forward to how the sleeping positions of Bertold, right? And how much they all anticipated it and had a big laugh about it. Again, I think this is to remind them that indeed they were definitely part of this friend circle. And Connie, man, you can see he totally didn't want to believe any of this. He just didn't want this to be true, man. You can see how broken up he was about it. And Connie brought up this thing they used to talk about that they all promised they're gonna go out for drinks once they grow old. After all of this, so emotional moment, man. Shit, I get teared up thinking about it. I know people might say calm down, they're just fictional characters, but you have to realize great storytelling makes you feel for characters, man. And I most certainly feel for these characters. I care for them. And then I get that powerful scene, man. That emotional cry for help from Bertold. And it left a lot of them speechless. Most of them, at least. Not Mikasa. I'll talk about Mikasa in a bit. Her stance on things is a little bit different here. But it's understandable. It is understandable. Her stance is understandable. I'll get into that. But the major thing that came out of that is that he finally confirmed that indeed it's not by choice. They're not doing this by choice. I believe he said, who the hell actually wants to do this? Who kills people by choice, right? And it makes complete sense, And yeah, man, there simply had to be more to it, right? I didn't buy for a second that these are evil people, dead set on exterminating humanity. They came in as kids. I saw that scene of them, in the flashback. Back then they had the 4th member, Marcel. They're kids, man, Aaron's age. And it feels like it's out of their control. Something they're almost being forced to do. Or they kind of have to do, or they're being blackmailed, or something. Again, I need to know. But I never believe for a second that they actually want to do this. There are much bigger players at play. Pulling the strings, the people behind all of this. Those fuckers. I hope I get to find out about them. And I need to know what they have on them. They have something on these on these people, you know, Reiner, Bertolt, Annie, maybe Marcel. Bertolt even made a point about this in this monologue of his. Anytime either of them, all of them actually felt at peace or felt like they, you know, didn't feel like pieces of shit is as soldiers. Anytime they pretended to be soldiers, they were able to maybe, you know, let go of some of that. So, and I do feel like this does have a bit of a life or death type thing looming over all of this, right? Like a race against time. You know, they have to complete this mission to be free from something, and you know, go back to this elusive hometown. But he still kept it real. You know, he knew that these are not things he can apologize for or take back, and that they just couldn't come to terms, you know, with the sins of their actions. They got this perspective after spending time inside, right? And seeing the aftermath firsthand and seeing the consequences of their actions. You know, and I do firmly believe that they didn't have this outlook as children about to attack Wall Maria. You know, I really do feel like they might have been these brainwashed child soldiers back then, and they might have been fed a bullshit narrative, man. And I do feel like this, you know, heartfelt, all out in the open approach from Bertolt really resonated, you know, with the 104th, especially Ymir. They made a point of, you know, showing a shot of her face. You know, I felt like it was eye-opening for her, and that she really understood the situation they're in. The one person who was not having any of it was Mikasa. You know, I believe she said she has no more room in her heart to care for any more people. You know, she said that to Historia a little bit earlier. And you can see how fed up she is. You know, even in the build-up to that moment, as she's speaking to Historia and Ymir, you can see in the animation, you know, she's just really on edge. You can see the eyes, just really, it's fed up. You could tell Mikasa's really fed up. And, you know, she basically did say there's a limit to the amount of people I can actually care for. And I really do care for. And I don't think that makes Mikasa a terrible person or anything. I think it's realistic, man. Everyone has a limit, you know. She cares for some people more than others. I think that's realistic. I understand her approach in this episode and her frustration. I do get it. Mikasa, man. Mikasa was actually quite terrifying this episode. You know, she had like a laser focus. The only thing that matters is getting Eren back. You know, she attacked Ymir, and if Historia doesn't jump in to defend Ymir and to tell Ymir to, you know, back off, step down, yeah, I think Mikasa could have easily killed Ymir there. In fact, she even threatened Historia. You know, you can see, man, she's so close to snapping. And even after, you know, that heartfelt moment of Bertolt saying, you know, please somebody find us, after a moment of silence, the first one to say something is Mikasa, and her stance here is definitive. She didn't care about any of that. She said, Bertolt, give Eren back. Okay, let's backtrack and go to Ymir and Historia, man. That's another major aspect of this episode. And Ymir's struggle, man. Ymir's struggle here. So it appears that Ymir can exit the Titan body. And doesn't have to transform again. So she can exit, you know, and she's still attached to the body, and she could go back in. So that's something new. Now I'm guessing the rest of the Titan Shifters can do that as well. You know, if Ymir can do it, I'm guessing all of them can do it. So that's quite handy, you know, to just kind of poke off for a little bit, and then you could go back in. So instead of coming clean to Historia about, you know, the reasoning for this, the reason she took her, instead she decides to bullshit and tell Historia that she only took her to get herself out of a tricky situation. You know, if she can bring her to them, they'll think about what they can do. And, you know, she made it sound like she only stuck around Historia this whole time for insurance purposes, because she knows how important Historia is. But even after all of that, you know, Historia just overlooks it, and she's like, you know, she pledges her support. She's like, I don't care, I'm always by your side, I'll help you. And you can see in Ymir's reaction that, you know, she's just like, just shocked at Historia. You know, that even after bullshitting and, you know, saying that I've been using you this whole time, Historia is still down to help her and is by her side. But of course, you know, she's saying all of this so she can get Historia out of here, because she doesn't feel like she can be safe in here. She feels like it's much safer outside. So that's quite telling. You know, and that takes me back a few episodes. Reiner, you know, asking her, do you think there's a future for the people in here? And it seems like Ymir doesn't think so, and she just wants to get Historia out of here. And she, you know, she bullshits about all of this, and she makes it up. But it's clear to everyone that, you know, she's just saying that. You know, ironically, Connie and Sasha are the ones who have to tell Historia that, come on, she's just lying. She's just saying that. And that the only time she ever shows any effort is if you're in trouble. You know, and you're like the person she cares about. the only person she cares about. So I thought that's a funny moment that both Kanye and Sasha are the ones that had to, you know, break it to Historia. There's a bit of a comical moment earlier on because Ymir basically asked Historia to overlook the fact that Titans eat humans. I believe she said something like everyone has one or two faults and that they're not so bad after all. Now that might sound crazy, the fact that she's defending these Titans and that they're not so bad after all. But you know, you have to remember that Ymir knows the true origins of these Titans, and she knows that these used to be, you know, these Titans used to be humans, and they're not eating humans by choice. You know, hell, she used to be a Titan for 60 years, you know, and she didn't want to eat humans, but she was put in a position that she just couldn't, you know, control that. Forced into this prison of flesh. That's like my new saying now. But again, you know, I'm just saying, again, it sounds a bit crazy, but I can see that side of it. I can see Ymir's side of this. In terms of predictions, you know, for the finale up next, it's highly unlikely that I'm going to see this hometown. I mean, there's only 22 minutes. Yeah, there's just not enough time to show me anything else. And I'm most definitely not going to see the basement in Shiganshina once again. But, you know, I've changed my tone on that. It feels like that is not something I'm going to see anytime soon. Because, again, you know, Grisha did say the secret of the Titans. You're going to find out the secret of the Titans in there. So, you know, so it makes sense that they're not showing it to me just yet. So that's definitely not going to happen. Maybe season 3. Maybe season 3. I mean, 3 seasons in, they've mentioned it since season 1. Maybe season 3 is finally the time to go to the basement in Shiganshina. Also, I think I would like to see Reiner and Bertolt escape the situation. They're in a really difficult situation at the moment. And I'm dreading the prospect of maybe one of them dying in the finale. There's got to be one major death at least. You know, Hannes, I think Hannes is still really high up on my list. That's still my prediction that he probably ends up dying. But, you know, who knows, man? It's Attack on Titan. Maybe they kill off maybe one of them. Maybe they kill off both of them. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. But it is my hope that they get out of this situation. You know, I just want to know the backstories. I want to know how they got into this. That includes Annie, and this hometown they keep speaking of. There's so much more I need to know, so I can't lose them, man, not just yet. But yeah, so if you enjoyed it, please smash that thumbs up, leave your comments, let me know what you guys thought. Huge thank you to all the amazing patrons. Thank you so much for the support, man. Thank you for sticking around. You guys are awesome. You guys are the real deal. I really do appreciate it. And a reminder to anyone else, if you're interested in early access or full-length reactions, I've got all those on my Patreon. Check it out. And that applies to Season 3. Season 3 is going to have the full-length reactions. And it also applies to my next anime. I've got quite a list on my Patreon page. You know, anime is one thing I've really always wanted to, you know, check out more of. I just never got the chance. But, you know, this seems like a really good chance to check out more anime. So check out that list. You know, once I pick my next anime through a poll, that's going to have early access and full-length reactions. But yeah, so check it out, you know, and in doing so, you'll be supporting me. Perhaps I could do this for the long term. But yeah, man, that all sets it up nicely for this finale, man. 4 episodes today. Time to finally, you know, finish it off. Before that, I have to go grab a coffee, some Tim's, you know, get an espresso shot in there, get ready for this finale, man, because there's going to be a lot to talk about. I'm sure there's going to be so much to talk about. I don't want to get sleepy or anything. But yeah, thanks for checking that out. See you for the finale.